Just a couple of quick things. That Hillary Clinton now has to testify. They've called her to testify in front of a grand jury. And I got to tell you something. I think she's in big trouble. Because it almost looks like Nixon's attempt to sort of squirm his way out of the Watergate issue. I'm not saying that this is as serious as the Watergate issue. I mean, she's not a sitting president. But she is the First Lady. And no one ever learns from the past. You know, Nixon, they often say if Nixon had come out and just said, you know what, okay, here's what happened. A bunch of guys decided to break in there. I really wasn't in charge of this. I didn't know about it the whole time, but I take full responsibility. If you want me to leave office, I'll leave office, and that's it. That would have been the end of the investigation. No deep throat, nothing. Would have been the end of it. And everyone would have said, you know what, guy probably didn't know. Maybe he did know. Who knows? Screw it. Let the guy sit there. At least he's honest. But they never learn. They never learn. Suddenly, papers that were being subpoenaed for 2 years appear in a room that is only accessed by the First Lady, her husband, and a couple of cleaning people.
A butler.
Yeah, a butler. And a butler's a nice way of saying a cleaning person. And this office where these papers magically appeared were right next door to a room that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton only have access to, like an inner chamber kind of room. So for these papers to miraculously appear means either Hillary put them there or a very close aide put them there and she knew about it. And now she'll have to go in front of this Whitewater hearing.
Well, a grand jury.
Grand jury, rather.
Whitewater hearing.
Yeah, right. She'll have to go in front of this grand jury and say, I don't know how those papers got there. Because if she says how the papers got there, she looks completely ridiculous.
You know, it's turning into something that wasn't a crime is going to turn into one.
Right. The cover-up becomes the crime. That's what happened in Watergate.
Right.
It was the cover-up that pissed people off. That the president was busy, consumed with, I didn't do anything. I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
I never met with anyone.
The 18-minute gap was she must have hit play and record. You know, that's what drove people nuts. It's precisely what Hillary Clinton's doing now is what drove people nuts.
So I suppose it'll be the first time a First Lady has had to step down.
Yeah, now what do you do? That's the point. What do you do with the First Lady? She's got to step down.
She can't be the president's wife anymore.
It just, you know, it just leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And everyone has said, gee, you know, the people who are supporters of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton have said D'Amato has been very tough and this is ridiculous. It's a waste of the taxpayers' money. I don't know if it's a waste of the taxpayers' money. I think some interesting things are turning up, quite frankly.
Well, whether it be a waste or not, this seems to be what we do as presidents now. We analyze everything about them while they're in office. You know, Reagan had his Iran problems.
Yeah.
And, you know, the last guy had some kind of problem. Now this guy has a problem.
Right. Everyone's got a problem, Robin. Well, you know,
look into it.
There was a suggestion in today's paper that Hillary Clinton could be replaced by Jennifer Flowers.
Is that right?
As First Lady.
She could just step down and Jennifer would step up.
That's right. And there is some discussion about it on some low levels at the White House. But
wouldn't it be funny if Tipper Gore now had to go sleep with the president?
Right. She has to become the First Lady.
Because she'd be Vice President's wife.
But anyway, it's very interesting what's going on with that. And you know, they always say, you know, deny, deny, deny. In politics, sometimes it's got to be admit, admit, admit. You know,
I suppose it's like deny with your wife, but admit to everyone else.
Right. If you're cheating on your wife, deny, deny, deny. If you kill your wife, deny, deny, deny.
Yeah, a wife problem you deny.
Right. So there it is. And I'm not entirely upset about all of it, only because I feel the Clintons turned their back on me. They knew about the FCC. They could have stopped that years ago. And I was a big supporter of theirs, and they turned their back on me.
Well, you know, they've been having problems in the White House all along with exactly what Hillary is supposed to do.
Right.
She started out as, you know, a major player in the administration, and now she's writing children's books.
Yeah. Anytime you want to improve your image, you write a children's book. fact, Jackie Martling's writing a children's book. Hey, maybe I was a little rough in the past, but I love kids. Yeah. Also, if you will.
I certainly will. Hillary Rodham Clinton, her name.
Rodman.
Her name has become synonymous with trouble in the White House. Lately, every new revelation about the Whitewater investigation has something to do with Hillary. Now she's being subpoenaed by a grand jury to testify about the fact that some billing documents from her law firm that had been subpoenaed by the Whitewater Committee eventually showed up in private quarters at the White House after being missing for about 2 years or something. So now she has to go before a grand jury and answer questions as to whether there was an attempt to cover up.
Well, I spoke about this early in the morning, Robin, that this is very serious. It really is. And I'll tell you something. There are those people who are supporters, as I used to be before Hillary and her husband ignored my request to stop with the FCC and disregard these $1.7 million in fines. But they didn't see fit to step in. They weren't worried about the First Amendment. They were worried about other nonsense, like getting rich. And, there have been critics of Senator D'Amato and the Whitewater hearings, and they've said, hey, it's wrong, it's a political vendetta, it's this and this and the other thing. But
it's taking too long, let it go away now.
But it seems to me that like what happened with Nixon, it wasn't so bad that Nixon, might have been involved in a break-in. That was not even so bad. If he had just come clean and said, look, I guess while these guys were working for me, a lot of stuff happened. I wasn't too clear on it.
He didn't break in.
Yeah, but I accept full responsibility. I think the American public would have forgiven him. What the American public hated about this Watergate and Nixon was the fact that once it got started, the guy was caught in a series of cover-ups. And I don't think there's a person alive doesn't believe that Hillary Clinton left those documents, these recently found documents that they've been searching for 2 years. Suddenly they appeared in a room that is only accessible by Hillary Clinton, her husband, and a butler.
Why can't they just be on a table? These are documents that everybody's been looking for quite some time, supposedly.
So now when Hillary Clinton goes in front of a grand jury, she's going to have to lie. She's going to have to say, I don't know how those documents got on a table.
Well, let's think of the best case scenario, Howard, that she didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, you buy that?
No, but I just said maybe she didn't. You give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, like maybe I should give O.J. the benefit of the doubt. No, she knows where those documents are. This woman's a bright woman. She's a lawyer. They're used to keeping documents. They hold on to them.
Yeah, she probably doesn't lose very much, and if she does, somebody's head is rolling.
Yeah, and this is now more cover-up.
Well, yesterday she was on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and she said she's anxious to answer questions. She has nothing to hide. Here's Hillary Clinton.
Oh, is that right? You have actual tape of Hillary?
Yes. Do you know where they are?
Yes, I do. I'm a very organized man. There isn't a spot on here I can find anything. Here we go.
Answering questions is something that I am absolutely open to and want to do in every forum, any question anybody has.
Then she will be testifying before the Whitewater hearings? All of a sudden, she's absolutely, positively anxious to answer questions.
Come on this show and answer questions.
So anyway, she's still out hawking that book of hers that has to do with how to raise children or something.
There's an article in the paper today. It's a paper out of San Francisco, the San Francisco Chronicle, which says to people, they compare my book with Hillary Clinton's book. Mm-hmm. They're trying to say, well, her book is about children, mine's about me, And they try to offer readers a comparison so they'll know which book to buy.
Right.
It looks like my book...
There's some confusion between the two books?
Well, they're saying, hey, here's a buyer's guide. It's actually kind of a funny article. Uh-huh. And it says stuff like, the authors recall their past. Writes Hillary, I have spent much of the past 25 years working to improve the lives of children. Howard writes, when I was 7 years old, my mother gave me puppets, and within weeks I had puppet orgies in my basement for all my friends to see. See, that kind of stuff. And which book would you rather read? So there it is. And a lot of other stuff.
Well, maybe you'll read us a fact a day as to how your two books differ.
Yes, and believe me, they do.
Meanwhile, I was wrong. The president didn't give his State of the Union address last night. He'll be giving it tonight.
You know what else is funny with this Hillary Clinton? Here she wrote a book about kids, and it's an obvious ploy to,
reposition
herself. First ladies, that's what they're supposed to do, help kids and stuff like that.
Or plant trees.
Yeah, basically do nothing.
Yeah.
So she, was really involved in the White House. But once things start getting rough, you talk about kids. Now, no one can attack you when you talk about kids. It's the same thing when you hear, like this cuckoo bird, Reverend Wildman. He says, all this pornography on the radio and TV, we got to get rid of it for the children. No one can argue with that, the children. As soon as you say the children, it's well, of course, absolutely, the children. And I believe those are cuckoo words. Don't tell me about society has to be geared toward children. What is it? Oh, the whole country going to be Disneyland? Be a parent.
Well, if Hillary's been spending all of her life working to protect children, it's been a waste.
Yeah, because these children are not protected.
Look at what's going on.
Yeah. So anyway, now, her one big public relations move would have been to go to these book signings and sign some books. Instead, she didn't even sign the books.
No, she stamped. And I hear, from people who have been to the book signings, she still doesn't spend any time with anybody.
No.
They claim that she wasn't signing for security reasons and so she could spend more time with people on the line. But you're not spending any time with Hillary.
Now, by the way, I could just as easily support Mrs. Clinton right now and make you think completely opposite of what I've just said. Now you can't stand there, right?
You haven't swayed me.
Oh, well, you're different. I can take a whole different position on this and be just as convincing because I have no moral center. Now, let me tell you something.
You know what disappointed me about her?
Yeah.
That she had this idea of who she wanted to be.
Right.
And the moment she saw that other people didn't want her to be that, she stopped. So how much of a visionary is she?
Pile it on, baby. Because, let me tell you something. She and that husband of hers turned their backs on me, and I delivered a lot of votes, whether they want to recognize it or not. But we'll see what happens in the next election. I've had it with those two. Thanks for making my life miserable. And the way I twisted in the wind for a couple of years with this FCC, and I still haven't stopped twisting, by the way. Still have not. They're still on my ass. The way I twist in the wind, let Hillary twist in the wind. Go get him, Senator Al. God bless you.
Well, anyway, as I
begged him to do this.
The president will be giving his State of the Union address tonight, and the question is what kind of reception he's going to get. They're wondering if the Republicans will boo him because of all the problems with the budget. There's a deadline coming up once again so that money for government programs will be stopped because there is no budget in place, and Congress would have to enact another one of these stopgap measures to keep money flowing until they actually get a budget in place. They don't think that this time there will be a government shutdown because lots of congressmen have been receiving angry letters from their constituents upset that programs are interrupted, their checks are stopped, the services are not available. So they expect that you'll see another stopgap measure implemented. Christopher